Hello, everyone. It's Cris Duncan, the director of Texas School Professional Photography. I'm here with one of our fabulous instructors, Guy T. Phillips, with Unlock Lightroom and Upgrade Your Life. It's a great class there at the Texas School Professional Photography. It's going to be April 26th through May 1, 2026. And this is Texas School Off the Record. So I'm excited to be talking to Guy
Mhm.
T. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, sir. Looking forward to this conversation.
Yes, well, we want to just jump right to it. Tell us what like a day in your class would look like. Kind of give the someone that's considering your class what they can expect.
Okay, every day is going to be different, of course, but I'm going to say there's going to be a lot of laughter and there's going to be a lot of participants. I like to say that my class isn't students, they're participants because they are going to participate heavily. And that's an expectation. You can't be a wallflower and be in my class because I want to make sure that we understand your workflow. Can't do that without talking with you, without asking questions and having you interact as much as possible. Because by the end of the week, hopefully you're going to walk away with ideas that are going to make you more efficient, more effective, get your life back while making your customers a heck of a lot happier when you can turn things around so much faster.
Yeah. So this is a class that they need to bring a computer, their
Mhm.
laptop, have a library created already, and
Kind of, yeah. There's not laptops are best because of space, of course, but we do have occasional people who bring their big Macs and things like that, sit off to a side where they're not blocking anybody. We're more than fine with that. Bring some extra power cords. We've had a few folks who bring their tablets and things like that as well, but that's up to you, really. As far as the class itself, of course, bring a sweater, right? And the biggest thing is bring a smile and be ready to use the word we a lot. It's not about I, it's about we.
yeah.
So
So it's I mean, so it's hands-on. They're going to be working
very
alongside
much.
you, not watching you do it, correct?
Yeah, the usual process is I'll introduce items to them, take questions as we go, but they're really following along. If we were to look at a screenshot, for example, of what's they're going to be seeing, you've got little bitty icons down in the lower right-hand corner that tell you, okay, here's where you're supposed to be following along. And then you'll
Hmm.
see a slightly different version of that icon. This is where we're going to stop. We're going to review it, and you guys get to do what I just showed you. So first they get an exposure to it, no pun intended, and then they also get a chance to do it themselves. Myself and my wrangler will walk about the classroom as needed and make sure they really, really got it.
Yeah.
So,
So that kind of leads to my next question. It's like,
okay.
so that's what probably makes this class unique because
Mhm.
I mean, it's Lightroom. I mean, I could YouTube a Lightroom video possibly, or
Mhm.
maybe find an article in a magazine. So,
Mhm.
so why Guy T. Phillips? Why Texas School to do this?
Well, the usual obstacle that you run into with YouTube is you look up 10 of them and 11 of them are wrong, right? They're out of date. They're not showing you the most efficient step. It's somebody's biased thing. Because again, with everybody's different workflow. If there's 20 students, there's going to be 20 different workflows possibly, right? And you really don't get that opportunity when it's just a screen talking to you. But with the interaction and the opportunity to ask any question you want to ask all week long, that's a beautiful thing about Texas School, that interaction you get, even if we're after hours, because we want to make sure that it's for that individual, right?
Right. So you don't mind being interrupted.
Oh, no, no, not at all. And encourage it actually. Something I picked up from one of the other instructors that's been doing this for a long, long time was making sure I had cards where they could write things down for me because you know you're
Mhm.
going to have those folks who are going to want to they don't want to ask their question in front of everybody else. Yeah,
Sure,
because I don't want to be embarrassed kind of a thing.
sure.
So we encourage that, you know, here's notepads you can use at your table. If you need more, this whole bin's full of that. Got lots of pens. And each break, we revisit some of those that have just recently been deposited every day at the end of the day, every day at the beginning of the day to make sure that we don't overlook anything.
Yeah.
So,
So
and
you,
you
yeah,
know, some of the newbies that come along sometimes ask me questions. I go, wow, I got to think about that one for a little bit. So some of them I can't answer right away. But that's the great
yeah.
thing about it. Lightroom's changing constantly. And between that and the other mix of students, we need a face-to-face opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. So one thing you mentioned in that is like, you can ask questions during the class or even
Mhm.
after hours.
Right.
So I know it's a big part of Texas school is
Exactly.
the social opportunities. So
Mhm.
one of the questions I has is, it kind of goes along with that. What do you do like to build community within your class?
Well, we're going to start off the class with what I mentioned a while ago about I versus we, the four most
Mhm.
important words, the two most important words, the least important word, and the most important word. And the most important word is we. And so we get that mentality going because it's to me, it's critically important
Mhm.
that we talk about things that, you know, every year somebody says, well, what's your workflow? It's like, well, you know, you don't do what I do. So my workflow is not really going to work. for you. It may work for that person sitting next to you, but it's all about we. So we're going to really look at the larger class. And it's kind of funny every once in a while somebody picks up an idea. I have never even thought about that because the person next to him asked a question that we hadn't gotten to just yet. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the beauty of in-person education.
Exactly.
Correct.
Exactly.
Yeah. You can't
Yep.
you can't
Hmm.
get out of your own head when you're watching a
Right.
video or
Plus,
something.
you probably do the same thing in your classes you've done in the past. You know, just because we start Texas school in April, end of April, early May, doesn't mean we're done because you're mine till the next year, till this new batch
Mhm.
of students shows up, right?
Yeah.
So, it doesn't just begin and end at Texas school.
Well, I love that about, the Texas school instructors that
Hmm.
they really care for their students. A lot of people would ask me, why do you teach? I mean, why do you want to give up a week of your personal life,
Hmm.
Gotti, to
Yeah.
come and teach Lightroom to some other,
Well,
maybe a competitor, could
yeah.
even possibly be a competitor of yours.
Every once in a while I get into that, yes. But to answer what you asked, I posted something about this just the other day, the light bulb moments. That's what I'm really looking for. As my previous experience as a corporate instructor for a Fortune 500 company, I was teaching complex subjects and competencies and all sorts of different things. And when you get that light bulb moment, it's worth it,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
absolutely. But I love that mentality that Texas school instructors have. It's
Oh
like,
yeah.
yeah, call me, text me. Here's my phone number.
Hmm.
It's whenever you have a question, I'm here to help. And
Yeah,
especially, I'm sure in a
exactly.
class like Lightroom,
Hmm.
I feel like I get an email from Adobe every couple days that something's new or
Yeah, yeah. Every other month going to be something new, and I think you and I have talked about the most recent change is going to be right before Texas school. No pressure.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
So that'd be that'd be good. So what do you think 1 week after Texas school?
Hmm.
Right? The dust is settled. They've got a pile of notes. They've worked in your class. They've had fun at our social events, and they're back. Finally, real life hits them again. Right?
Hmm.
1 week. How's your students' life different? What can they do now that you think they couldn't do before Texas school, before your
Okay.
class?
Well, aside from my class, they can sleep after Texas school. So there's one thing. They can finally go back to sleep. But you know, it, I don't like to use my own words. I'm going to just borrow one particular client who, in their business, their specific niche, they've already been considered one of the best in the entire country. They travel all over the country, but they waste an awful lot of time going from one location to another, one location to another, that could have been productive. And that was one of my most favorite testimonials. It's a long one themselves and their employees now do things on the road that they didn't even know they could do. They didn't know how to do it. And to be honest with you, it's something you wouldn't really stumble into on most YouTubes because of
Mhm.
its nature. But they are now not only the preeminent of their niche, but they also are their turnaround has increased dramatically and also separated them from their competitors again. Right? They already do phenomenal work, and now you can turn that around that fast
Yeah,
because nobody else in the industry does it.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
So more efficient,
More efficient, more
more
effective.
more productive.
Yep. And they
Yeah,
get their life back. They can recognize their better halves. They can recognize their dogs, their cats.
yeah.
Because the reason why this class came along eons ago was because I was watching people and was like, well, that's one way of doing it, but it's not the most efficient way. It's not the most effective way, et cetera. And my OCD just was going berserk. So that's where all this came from is, I want to give you your life back. I want to do it your way, though, not my way. For
Mhm.
example, one part of the class, there's at least 8 different ways just to import an image. And some people will swear, well, that's the best way. Well, let's take a look at the other ones just in case. You never know. And by the
Uh-huh.
time we get to the eight, oh, I never even thought about doing it that way. Right?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
there's lots of different ways to do things, and when you can
Right.
help someone find the best way for them,
Right.
that's
Yeah, that's the critical part.
that's the critical part. So,
Yeah.
um, you talk about unlock Lightroom and upgrade your life. I've heard,
Mhm.
I feel this theme coming through here, Guy T, that you want your students to have, um, when they leave Texas school and leave your class, you're using Lightroom as a tool to give them time back,
Right.
not giving them more projects to do within
No,
Lightroom necessarily.
no, no. We'll already take care of all that in the class, just like every other class at Texas school. By the time we get to Friday, the brain's going to be ready to explode, right?
Yeah.
But implementing it is critical. And that's why even after Texas school, we'll follow up as needed. Some people get it right off the bat during the class. Those are really exciting moments. Um, And then others, if they need some quality time after class, let's go for it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. That's great. So, you've been an instructor for several years
Hmm.
at Texas School. What's one of your favorite things? I know I'm pretty have a I know you kind of shared a favorite memory of a student light bulb moment that you
Hmm.
like, but
Hmm.
um, even something personal or at Texas School that
Well,
that you really like about that event that brings you coming back.
yeah,
Even if you
I
were a
like,
student, you'd probably come back. I know you've been a
yeah.
wrangler and a volunteer before and a
Hmm.
student,
Yeah,
every
tried all
role.
the different facets. Yeah. The I'd have to say the community that gets built, the familia or whatever you want to call it, it is really interesting to watch the anxiety and the um, oh, I don't know whatever the word would be at that first night when everybody's kind of a little nervous about what are we going to be doing? Am I going to do this right? Oh, I got to raise my hand, that kind of stuff. Uh, but by the time Thursday rolls around, and of course Friday morning, everybody's best of buddies, right? And to watch them do things like the Texas School Charities, which is important to me as well, and to see that giving is not just giving of time and talent, it's also treasure as well. And so they're giving back as much as they can all week long. They're becoming the
Mhm.
best of friends. I look forward to coming back to Texas School. Those are people, some of them, how many 40 something states that I don't get a chance to see. So just that alone, but seeing it evolve during the week of Texas School and how that family becomes one is really exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of sounds cliche. We always say,
Mhm.
there's such a community at Texas School,
Right.
but it, and it may sound cliche, but it is
Mhm.
true. It
Yeah, you
really
almost got
is
me to
true.
tear up, but not this time.
I know. I noticed you got a there's a
Almost,
little
almost.
there's a
Had
little
a
crack in your voice, and you got a little.
2023 was a pivotal year. Let's just put it that way. That class just truly blew me away. But I'll tell you the same thing I tell them. That's going to be the best class in the entire room, and it's going to
Mhm.
be the best Lightroom class in all of Texas school.
That's correct.
That's my guarantee.
That is. That is. So obviously someone that wants to learn Lightroom,
Mhm.
become more efficient in using this software through their workflow and their whether or they need to be portrait photographers, can they be a landscape photographer? I mean, do they have to just open Lightroom? Can they've been using it for a few years, kind of?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Some people, am I a beginner? Am I an intermediate? And that's their own perception because I've had some people who thought they were pro level, so to speak, that weren't quite there. They
Uh-huh.
had some pretty good ideas, but some of them were, as we mentioned before, well, that's a great idea, but there's better ways to do what you just said, right? And at the same time, some of the newbies, you'd be surprised how fast they pick it up. And that's also another one of the goals is how do I get that person involved? Because some of them do try to disappear that first day, right?
Hmm.
Uh, but before you know it, though, they're cooking with gas, so to speak. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So your
yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
so your classes, yeah, so they're open. So whether they're new to Lightroom or been
Mhm.
using it for a while, they're welcome and they're going to find a place in your class.
Yeah, it's just like when people ask me what do I want out of my Wrangler? I don't really expect that Wrangler to know Lightroom. That's not their job. Their job is to make sure everybody's happy. Because if they can make everybody happy, occasionally tell me that person's on Jeopardy over there and this person's playing solitaire, help me out with that sort of thing. But as long
That's
as they
funny.
can get the room smiling, and maybe we got to go buy some Tiff's treats and sweeten them up a little bit, who knows? But in any case, yeah, the skill sets really don't matter that much because we do take the time to evolve from what does it take at the very beginning of your workflow and go all the way through as the week goes on. So,
Yeah, that's
so even
fantastic.
even a newbie's going to know things they thought uh, they'd never know. So,
Yeah. So, well, that's fantastic. I know
mhm,
there's still some place in your class
mhm,
for Texas School this year. And one thing I really appreciate about your class, Guy T, is a lot of instructors, and it's not a bad thing. I don't mean this as a negative, but
mhm.
they want a big 30 people in their
Oh
class,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
Nah,
some
don't want that.
instructors like this more intimate setting. And I know that your class, you like that more intimate setting, and you can
Right.
hear it in this conversation because
Yeah.
it's about them. It's not about you as
Right.
an instructor, and all of
Yeah.
our instructors are that way, but it's about
Yeah.
when you have a more intimate setting, it's like you really can get to know your students, can really help them along the journey, and
Yeah.
know that when they do drive off Friday, that they're in a good spot, right? They're in a better
Right.
spot than when they came to
Yeah,
Texas.
I'm going to work for that great rating on their evaluation.
Yeah,
And but I shouldn't have even used the word work because it's a four-letter word. I truly enjoy it. Truly enjoy the experience. Um, yeah, it's just a moment to look forward to and have a great time. And yeah, you're going to be dead tired by the end of the week, but There's Monday.
Well, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, anything worth doing is worth doing, is putting the
Yeah.
effort in to do it, right?
Exactly.
So,
Exactly. Well, Chris, there's not really a specific type of student that I'm looking for, or participant that I'm looking for, because they can be any genre. We've had folks who surprised me with unusual things. One young lady a few years ago, all she does is photographs for her family and her parents who have been married 75 years. That's the kind of
wow.
stuff she captures. Another gentleman photographs only underwater things. A lot of course, there's the seniors and, there's people who ice skating and one attorney who does this for fun and does a lot of product photo, things that don't talk and don't move, right? So yeah, there's any kind of genre is more than welcome. I just need to know more about their workflow. And as the week evolves, of course, we're going to use Facebook to find out more about them anyway, leading up to the class. And we're going to have a Zoom call before the class, a Zoom call or two before the class.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we're going to make it as much about them, regardless of what their genre is, regardless of what their workflow is. We're going to see if we can find those hidden gems that'll make their lives much, much easier.
Well, that's just like your title says, unlock Lightroom and upgrade your life.
Exactly. Exactly.
Use this software to
Yeah.
really make your photography better and give you more
Yeah.
time to do what you really love, which
Yeah.
is
I really value work-life balance, and
yeah,
that's what we're going for,
just
right?
taking photos. So,
Mhm.
well, God, T, I appreciate your time today.
Thank you very much.
And that are watching or listening to this, Guy T. Phillips's class, Unlock Lightroom and Upgrade Your Life for Texas School 2026. Again, those dates are April 26th through May 1. And you can go to texasschool.org and get registered. And we hope to see you there. Thanks, Guy
Thank
T.
you, Chris. Mhm.